Hello, aloha. We'll be starting soon, talking about the rites of passage. We're starting less than 1 minute over here. Okay, welcome everyone. How are you doing today? Today we'll be talking about the rites of passage, the ancient tradition of the rites of passage, and why I truly believe that we need to bring this back to our modern lives. So let's start with what is a rite of passage, right? Because unfortunately, some people has misconcept when we use the word rite or ritual. A lot of people think that ritual is something weird or witchery because unfortunately, what we have seen on TVs lately, it is rituals connected with bad things. And okay, I'm sure bad rituals exist. Yeah, they exist. But we're talking about the good ones, the ancient ones, and the ones that really have the potential to transform our lives. Those are the rituals, the rites that we'll be talking today. Okay, so what is a rite of passage? A rite of passage is a ceremony or an event that marks an important moment of someone's life, of somebody's life. So it's an important event. So these days, on the modern days, what are some of the rites of passage that we're used to and we don't even think about as a rite of passage, but they are? For instance, a birth. And when your child gets baptized, if you're a Catholic, for instance, or in some other religions and traditions, there is a baptism as well. The marriage is a rite of passage, right? Because if we stop to thinking about, well, we could just get together for a person without having a ceremony or without having the paperwork, but it is a rite of passage. The funeral is a rite of passage as well. So those are the rite of passage that we're used to. And unfortunately, we have the bad ones like planks that kids play on each other when they enter a college or a fraternity. Those are not good ones. And that's why we need to discuss about that and understand what is a rite of passage and see how we can use this in our modern lives in a healthy way. So we know that rite of passage is a ceremony to mark an important event of someone's life. That's what it is. How can we use this in a healthy way? I'll give you some examples, and many of them have been used by indigenous and aboriginal tribes for millennia, okay? One of them is so beautiful, of course, it is when the woman is pregnant. So you have a friend that is pregnant, for instance. You can create an event for that woman to mark that such an important moment on that woman's life, right? She's about to give birth. But when she gives birth, usually the attention goes to who? Towards the baby. So I want to do something for that mother. You can make a woman's circle. You can paint that new mom's belly and arms with henna, with blessed symbols and blessed words, right? You can share with them, if you're already a mother, about the good things about motherhood. You can share with this new upcoming mother how it would be able to help her and to assist her once the baby is born, how this community can help and support this new mother. This is one rite of passage. Another rite of passage that is beautiful, and then we'll come back a little bit, it is when a woman or when a girl actually or a boy, they go from the puberty time of their lives, right? They come from being a girl to be a woman, and from a boy to be a man. So, what can you do for them to embrace this change in their lives? Because it's a difficult change. If you have a teenager kids at home, you know how difficult it is. We have all the hormones, all the questions. So, what you can do in the case if you have a daughter, for instance, you can organize a woman's sharing circle for your daughter where all these older women and some of the elderly women the family will be around. You can prepare a beautiful rose and essentials bath to her. You can explain her the good things about being a woman, what it is to be a woman, what is that, what does that really means, and bring all the positive aspect. What is the positive aspect to have your first menses, right? And you can put like candles around, you can share stories, and just embrace, let this girl know, this daughter, that your daughter that just became a woman, to really know how special it is to become a woman and how sacred is her body, and how she should treat her body, herself, as sacred. So this is another way that you can do a rite of passage if you have a daughter or maybe a niece. And with boys, it's the same thing. When the boy is about to become a man, so the father or the uncle or the masculine figure of that family or that community can take this boy, and you can go maybe to the woods. You can teach some, maybe some survival skills, but also have that sit down talk, man to man. What is to be a man, right? In a positive way. How that man should treat a woman, because once he become a man, he can get married at any time. How should he treat a woman? How should he treat the woman of his community, all the women of his community, including his mother, including his future girlfriends, and make something meaningful so he'll feel that, okay, I'm no longer a boy. Now I'm a man and I have responsibilities as man. Of course, in some tribes in Africa, they have crazy rites of passage for boys, right? And some indigenous tribes in North America as well. There are some rites of passage that the boy needs to put a hand inside a hole full of ants and stay there for as long as they can. And it's very painful. But for that tribe, for that community, that's a sign. If the boy can go through that, they became a man. And the boy stops hanging out with the other boys. And from that day moving forward, these boys start to hang out with the man of the tribe. And the same thing with the woman, you change from one group to another group because things now is different. Another one that I think would be so nice if people do this more and more. It is when a woman goes to become elderly. Let's say I'll put like 60 years old, even though women with 60 years old these days are still so young. But let's put this date, 60 years old. The woman turns 6 years old. She accumulated all that knowledge. She helped several members of her family with her knowledge. Probably she gave birth, and she has already children and grandchildren, maybe great grandchildren. So that woman has a lot of knowledge. How about honor that woman? So when she turns 60s, instead of just do a big birthday party, you can still put a big birthday party, but you honor that woman. You make a time for sharing. It's a rite of passage for her also. That's a big thing, because now she's the wise woman. She no longer has her menses, and she has all this accumulated knowledge in her. She's ready to share that knowledge with the community. And this is big. So what about implementing that in our daily lives with the elderly woman in our family? So as you can see, there are many healthy ways to implement rite of passage. And it is so important, because as I told, when you do this, when you do a ceremony around that event that is marking your life. It will be stamped in your life forever. And it will give you that sense, okay, now I'm no longer a girl, I'm a woman. Now I'm no longer a maiden, now I'm a crowd. It's different. Things can really change in the life. And as I told you, you can start implementing this in your family, in your daily basis right away. Because rights is part of who we are, is part of being a human. And unfortunately, if we don't bring back those ancient pure ways to do rites of passage, people start creating things that are not so cool as the ones that we see on the television, like horrible rites involving children, for instance, horrible rites involving planks and teenagers that go to a fraternity. We don't want these horrible rites of passage to exist anymore. We want the good, healthy ones. So today we just went through some examples how we can implement some of these ancient rite of passage in our modern days, right? We thought about from being a girl or a boy to become a woman or to become a man, the puberty rite of passage, the rite of passage when the woman is pregnant and is about to give birth, and you give attention to that woman. And because when the baby is born, the attention go to the baby, but before that, attention go to the woman and how we can support that woman. And then we have the rite of passage, of course, the marriage. We didn't talk about the marriage because that's one that is already common in our society. But we talked about when the woman become elderly, when she's 60 and above, and she has all this accumulated information and knowledge that she can share with the community, and you want to honor that woman and how she's loved in the community and how important she is because of the knowledge that she's holding. I believe that there's so many things to talk about rites of passage. I just want to scratch on the subject a little bit for you to see how you can start implementing this in your life. So my name is Iara with the Life Change Breakthroughs and the Ancient Knowledge for the Modern Woman. Today we're streaming this video in our Life Change Breakthroughs YouTube channel. We have the Life Change Breakthroughs Facebook group as well. And if you're a woman and you're interested about ancient knowledge specific for women, we have a Facebook group that called the Ancient Knowledge for the Modern Woman. So I invite you to become part of this group because some videos will be just for this group as well. And if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channels, next time that we go live, you will be notified. So you'll be able to see and catch up the video from the beginning. But it has been lovely to be here with you today, and I'll see you again next week.